Boom! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Jeremy, and as you can see in the title, we're going to do a review of Natty for Life. I believe this is the #1 documentary on iTunes, and I think it's the #2 documentary in the country, so it's doing really well. I was able to grab a digital download of it, watched it via Amazon. And for those of you who don't know, Natty for Life is a movie about natural bodybuilding. What they do is they follow, I believe it's three or four bodybuilders through their quest to get to the natural Mr. Olympia. They follow 3 bodybuilders through their quest to get to natural Mr. Olympia. And the whole issue with this right now in the fitness industry is you have a lot of bodybuilders who people think are enhanced with performance enhancing drugs, be it steroids or whatever you call it. And there are a lot of people who think that they are enhanced, and then you have these athletes who say that they're natural. And one of those athletes they have in the documentary is the Titan himself, Michael Hearn, is inside of this in this movie as one of the talking heads in the movie. So they use him for commentary, and they do interview him a little bit. And then they have Kai Green, who I don't believe is claiming natural, but he's in the movie as, again, an IFBB pro type of guy who's providing some commentary. And King Kamali, he's in the video. And I do like King Kamali because King Kamali, I will say, out of everybody in this whole movie, King Kamali is the only guy that talks like he has nothing to lose. He tells it like it is. So if you want the truth, listen to King Kamali. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give up too much of the movie. I would give the movie, out of a score of 1 to 10, I'd give it an 8. I'd give it an 8, a high 8. It was very well done. Generation Iron always puts out good content. You guys know who Vlad Yudin is. I believe he's the producer, director, owner, whatever of Generation Iron franchise, and they put out some great stuff. They're probably the top bodybuilding content company out there right now, be Generation Iron. So let's get into the movie a little bit. So like I said, it follows really 3 bodybuilders through their quest to become the natural Mr. Universe. And as you guys know, there's IFBB, which is the International Federation of Bodybuilding. Maybe that's what it stands for. But anyway, those athletes, obviously, those are the mass monsters, and those guys are on steroids. That's no secret. And then you have natural bodybuilding, which is tested. They have drug tests that they do. I believe they have a urinalysis or something like that. And people do get bumped out of the contest. So they had a few guys that didn't make it in the contest because they didn't pass the drug test. So they do test for drugs for these. But getting right down to it here, so again, you have the 3 competitors. Philip Ricardo Jr., I believe he's older. I forget his actual age, but I think he's up there in age. I think he's in his 40s or something like that. Then you have Rob Terry, who I believe used to be a professional wrestler, and there's pictures of him as a professional wrestler, and I think he's a firefighter or something too. So you can check out his pictures and make your own judgment call on that. And then you got this Adrian Pietraru, I believe is his last name. I think he's from Russia. He was training with Michael Hearn out here at Gold's Venice. Pretty phenomenal physique. He's in great shape, and I think he's in his 40s as well. So all these guys, with the exception of Rob Terry, they're pretty much up there in age. So this stuff does get harder to do as you get older. I'm 49, and I do know how hard it is to do. So props to these guys here. So the main premise of the movie, it wasn't necessarily to try and put these guys under that interrogation light and go through their house and search and see if they could find steroids. It wasn't any of that. It was basically this whole quest. The focus was on these 3 athletes. And as you guys know, on YouTube right now, for a while it's been with Kenny KO and Craig Doucette. They have these video series. I think Kenny KO is the OG with it, but they have these Natty or Not type of videos that they've been doing for years. Because what you have now with social media and everything, and everybody wants their time to shine, is you have people who jump on gear or steroids, whatever you call it, and then they say they're natural. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that don't know the difference, don't know the body, don't know weightlifting, and they'll believe it. It's no different than when I'm up late at night and I see these commercials on TV for people who say, hey, buy this program and you can flip houses and make millions of dollars in a few months. And anybody who's in the real estate business knows that it doesn't work that way. But there's a lot of people that are going to believe it. So the point I'm making is, even with bodybuilding and the marketing, there are people who are going to believe anything you tell them. There are people who are going to believe anything you tell them. And that's all I'll say to that particular topic. I'm not on this video to say who I think is natural and who I don't think is natural. But the movie itself, worth a watch. It was very good. Vlad does a good job. I love their content. He does really good interviews. He knows how to ask these questions. He asked them with a straight face too. And again, King Kamali, props to him because he talks and tells it like it is. They did ask a bunch of people about Mike O'Hearn in the video. A bunch of people in the industry, they did ask about him, and they had some things to say, and I'll leave that at that too. Kai Green gave his commentary. Again, he was just there for commentary. He wasn't claiming that he was natural or anything like that. He was just there for commentary. But overall, the movie was definitely worth watching because, these guys definitely put in a lot of work. And me being 49 now, I know how hard it is to keep up with this stuff and keep your body fresh, keep your joints fresh, and to grow and build muscle as you age. It gets harder and harder to do because your body wants to slow down. That's what aging is all about. We typically don't get better as we get older. The body slows down. Go to any convalescent home and everybody in there is older and they're broke down because that's what happens eventually. We don't age in reverse. This isn't Benjamin Button. But I will say this. Here's what I will say. People that are in this industry, I'm in the industry somewhat. I work in fitness. I do personal training and different things like that. And I've been involved in fitness and lifting for a long time. And people that are in the industry, we can look at somebody and we know when they're using steroids or not. You can tell. You can just look at somebody and you can tell. To a lay person, to somebody that's not in the industry, they don't really know. And that's what all these guys sometimes they play on. Is they play on the fact that the majority of the population is naive. You could show an average person on the street a picture of a IFBB pro bodybuilder that's on something, and 9 out of 10 of those people are going to maybe think that this guy's natural because they just don't know this world. They don't know what the body can do and what bodybuilding looks like on that pro level. So, and then there's the whole thing. These guys have to sell supplements. They have contracts and things. So it wouldn't really be smart for them to sit there and say that they're doing all kinds of stuff. It just wouldn't make sense because they're pushing products and they're selling things. So, I'm not going to sit here and say who's using something and who's not because I'm not with anybody 24 hours a day. But the people who know. Most people can look at somebody and you can tell. There might be that one person out of 1,000 or 10,000. I mean, I've grown up with people and I've seen some people who can do some pretty phenomenal things and look amazing and they're clean. And I've seen some people that were really strong over the years. In my high school, there were a few kids that could bench a lot of weight for whatever reason. They were just strong kids. So just because somebody's doing something phenomenal, that doesn't mean that they did something illegal to get there, or it doesn't mean that they're doing something that you can't do. Do I think these guys in the movie are natural or not? Well, like I said, go look at the pictures. You can go Google these pictures, and you can look up some of these people. You look up Rob Terry, you can look up Philip Ricardo Jr., and you can look up this Adrian guy. I don't want to pronounce the last name again because I'll get it wrong. But you can look these three main guys up, and you should be able to make that answer on your own. If you know anything about bodybuilding, anything about nutrition, anything about anything, you should be able to look at these guys and answer that question on your own. So that's all I'm going to get to on that. But I will say that the hard work is there. You know, the hard work is there. So regardless of anything else, you got to do the training. You got to lift the weights. You got to drink the water. You got to eat the meals. All that stuff has to be done regardless of anything else. All that stuff has to be done. But again, I didn't want to sidetrack too much. I already did. I've ranted too much here, but the movie is definitely worth watching. Make your own personal decisions on everything else, but don't get too caught up in it, because there's social media now. And, you know, again, me being 49, I remember when I first joined the gym. It was a World Gym in Groton, Connecticut, and there were maybe 2 or 3 guys in the whole gym. Maybe more than that. Maybe 4 or 5 guys in the gym who were on what we called steroids back then. And you could tell, because these guys were like bigger and stronger than everybody else. And it was taboo. You know, nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it. I don't know how these guys got into it, because there was no information. There was no YouTube. There was no Instagram. You know, there was no Facebook. I mean, it was just magazines. That's all we had. And it was some sort of underground thing that these guys were able to do. You know, I feel bad for the kids coming up now, because you practically have people on YouTube doing tutorial videos on how to do this stuff. And I see that spelling a lot of trouble down the road for a lot of people. Back in my day, they said you had to lift for 10 years to hit your natural potential. That's what they used to say. And that's what I believed, because that's all I heard. You know, now I hear people in the gym talking about, I've been lifting for 2 years and I think I hit my plateau. How in the heck you hit a plateau in 24 months? Doesn't make no sense. So again, you know, it's interesting. Interesting time that we live in. This whole natty or not thing. It's an interesting time that we live in. I believe that people can do a lot more than they think they can do. I believe the mind is very powerful. So don't sell yourself short, but also be realistic. We got to be realistic. You're not going to get better and better and better, because if that was the case, somebody would be benching 5,000 pounds, and nobody's done that. You know what I'm saying? There are limits to everything. So keep that in mind. But the movie overall is good. I know you guys see Michael Hearn a lot on the thumbnails and stuff, but he's in the movie for sure, but it's not quite what you're thinking, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to delve into it too much, because I want you to watch it. But they don't search his house or anything, and, you know, look in his cabinets for anything like that. look for that, you know what I'm saying? They're not shaking him down and trying to find stuff. So again, check it out. Generation Iron. It was a good job. Uden, shout out to him for putting out a good content, and I believe that's it. Thank you for watching my little review here. Hope it was okay. Hope you liked it. Boom, man. This ain't Taylor Swift, but I rock the weights like a guitar riff. Hold the barbell with a tight grip, so when I pump the weights they don't slip. I'm moving heavy metal like Judas Priest, so I'm getting swole, to say the least.